So research for years has looked at lead leg extension velocity and how it correlates to ball velocity. Go on Google for 2 seconds and look at pitching coaches talking about the lead leg. You're gonna see some coach telling you that you need to fully extend your lead leg before ball release. The question is though, is this teaching right? In this episode, we're gonna dive in deep. We're gonna utilize our partner platform, 3Motion AI, and look at biomechanics and try to determine what are some of the quality traits of the lead leg that actually correlate to ball velocity. One of the cool things about KP is we have a bunch of high velocity throwers, guys that throw 95 to 100. So we're gonna take this data set, and we're gonna also look at some guys that maybe throw a little slower. We're gonna compare and contrast these things and try to get a good understanding of what a proper lead leg actually looks like. Let's dive in. So research all across the industry points to lead leg extension velocity and lead leg extension as an angle mattering in terms of ball velocity. Like ASMI has an article that shows lead leg going from 45 degrees at foot plant to then ending up at 30 degrees by the time of ball release. So they're showing that the angle of the lead knee changes from 45 degrees to 30 degrees. So you extend to 30 degrees. McNally has an article as well. He says that basically from the acceleration phase, you're looking for lead knee extension during the acceleration phase, and that also correlated to ball velocity. All the research is great, and it helps us kind of draw the picture as to what's actually happening with the lead leg. When we look at like the lead leg as a concept, we have to really understand what its job is, what its role is in the throwing motion, and this research kind of helps us, indicates to us what the lead leg is actually doing in the throwing motion. Back leg has two roles, right? It creates momentum down the mound, and then it drives rotation of the pelvis. What the lead leg does is it actually counters that and provides us a stable base, and it provides us acceleration. So think about the lead leg being sort of the brakes. So that lead leg is going to stabilize at 45 degrees. By stabilizing, the femur is going to slam our pelvis and accelerate our pelvis, which is the first part of our kinetic chain. Second part to the lead leg is as we get into max external rotation, our lead leg has to start to apply force into the ground again. Our pelvis continues to rotate. Our lead leg starts to extend. Lead leg extension, when we look at it in research, really gives us a great understanding of how well somebody is producing force into the ground. If you don't produce great force in the ground, then you're not going to have a really good lead leg. What we're going to do next year is we're going to basically dive through and aggregate what does lead leg data look like in 3Motion. Does this really hold true? Do our highest ball velocity throwers always have a good lead leg? Is the lead leg something that's more universally understood, that everybody that throws hard has to have a good lead leg? These are the things that we want to kind of get into. So that's what we'll do next. We'll get into it. So I just built out our data set, and after reviewing the results, let's look at what I found. So after looking at 19 different athletes, our data aligns nearly identically with the research. Athletes that have a higher lead leg extension velocity also throw the baseball harder. It seems simple. To throw harder, you have to have a really good lead leg, right? Earlier, we established what a good versus bad lead leg looks like in research. Let's play a game. Here are two players. Knowing what we know now, my question to you is which player throws the hardest? Player 1 or player 2? Did you say player 1? Seems like the logical answer, right? Let's reveal the actual velocities for these two athletes. In this graph, player 1 threw 97 miles per hour. In this graph, though, player 2 threw 102 miles per hour. So how can this be? Oftentimes, gurus in the industry like to say research says, but these gurus don't exactly know what research means. So when we're talking about research, we have to understand that research always compares two groups, the high ball velocity group and the low ball velocity group in this case. But there's a third group that we don't talk about, or that hasn't been talked about very much, and that's the outliers. An outlier is someone who doesn't match the trend. In this case, our outlier is player number 2. He's unique, and what he does actually defies the logic of research. His body's actually found a way to uniquely compensate to accomplish something that we would all agree is elite. Research is far too often looked at as a holy grail, when in reality, research just sort of gives us a starting point where we can take our best educated guess and start to apply what we see from research to maybe improve our performance. We're thankful for our partner 3Motion AI because they allow us to objectively measure biomechanics for our athletes daily. If you want to check out your biomechanics and you want to learn more about what your objective data looks like in your biomechanics, check out 3motionai.com. For more from us here at KP and more on our channel, Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. You can also check us out at kineticprobaseball.com. We've got so many more of these videos and small research projects underway here at KP. Make sure you tune in and check out what's next from the team. Keep climbing.